Your life experience, good or bad, is a gift when you share it with others. At Taxi Chronicles, we allow real riders with real stories to share their gift. So hopefully this episode will intrigue, enhance or inspire you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Morning. Yes, we're back with another rider, another episode. Today we are honoured to have a microphone specialist, and he's going to explain how he got into the industry and what it's like and how it motivates him.
Hi.
So nice to have you here today.
What a stroke of fortune.
Yes, it has been, because I've been in trouble with this music, my recordings and stuff. So tell us, how did you get into the industry?
I used to work, I got a job at a little DVD company. And I was doing subtitles and stuff, just checking, like proofreading them, making sure there's no missing words, no spelling errors, all that kind of stuff. Same with the packaging, making sure there's no errors on all this kind of stuff. Watching the films through before you replicate 10,000 of them to make sure there are no errors in the picture or the sound. So you kind of, it fine tunes that element of knowing, of picking up flaws, both in image and on the audio. And then I kind of got a bit bored of just staring at screens and stuff, and I bought a little DSLR, a little video camera back then, or a stills camera that could shoot high-def video. And so I basically put my hand up and said, I can shoot interviews for these DVDs, for the bonus features. I can go and film people talking about the films, whether they've made them or whether they know a lot about them. And I can offer that too now. And I really couldn't. I didn't know what I was doing. The first time I tried to interview someone, I put a microphone on top of the camera from about 6 feet away and just hoped for the best. And it was so bad, the quality, that I had to simply lie and say that the drive got fried and can we do it again? It was unusable.
How did the person take that?
They were a very good sport about it. But yeah, I learned very, very quickly, because the other thing is, it's not like you're making these and uploading them to YouTube and you can ditch them if you don't like it, or just delete it from the podcast network. These were going out into shops, on the shelves of HMV and elsewhere, utterly memorialized forever on disc, and on HD, on Blu-ray, as well as DVD. So any errors you made would show up so immediately and permanently that you immediately kind of got panicked, and so just started watching other interviews, looking at how the lighting was, seeing the audio, or just trying to spot if there are any microphones in shot. And so then I sort of found out about clipping on lavalier microphones, which are the little ones you kind of see in news broadcasts or on game shows, where they just have a little black thing clipped to someone's shirt or their collar or something like that. And because those are so small, that's what I've sort of been using ever since. And then of course, one of the other things you get on DVDs as well as people talking is these things called commentaries, where you'll get people talking over the length of the film as they watch it for the entire movie. And so you then just kind of try to work out all the different ways that there are of recording that. And the way I found that worked best was just kind of clipping those little lavalier microphones, because they're so small, to something near the person's head, ideally on the brim of a cap. Like I use sort of cotton golfing visors, because you can use big baseball caps, but those tend to make people's heads quite hot if they're talking for an hour and a half without stopping. So just having that, it just keeps the microphone a nice distance from the mouth, and it just, it's no fuss, and you forget you're wearing it. I mean, it looks pretty dumb if you see it on camera, but as a thing for just audio and audio alone.
So for podcasters where there's audio only, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, if you can get hold of, there are some really nice little cheap sort of clip mic, lav mics, where they've got all kinds of names, but just the little ones that you clip on, even into a phone. If you buy that and then a tiny little, cheapest baseball cap you can find in the market or in Primark or something, and I think you'll be surprised at how quickly the quality takes a jump up.
I use a microphone called Blue Yeti. I don't know if you know that.
I've heard of them. I've not had the chance to use one yet.
It's a typical podcaster's mic. It has 3 or 4 settings. What would you say, in general, when you're recording audio only, is the best form to, like, stereo? Do you record in stereo? Do you record in DBA, or what are the different terms, and why should someone use one and not the other?
Well, I mean, we've already hit like upon the limits of my knowledge already. I mean, I record a lot of the things I've done if there's 2 people talking in stereo, just because when I edit them later on and you remove any flaws, if there's an error if one person coughs, say, or tries to, or takes a drink or something, it's much easier to remove that if it's in stereo. And by stereo, I don't mean sort of one microphone that's stereo in the middle of the room. I mean they've each got a microphone, and one of those will play in the left channel and one of those will play in the right channel, so it's completely separate. And then I might even fold it down at the end of it so that it sounds like both people are coming out of both speakers, just because often it sounds nicer and clearer. But really, it's having them on the left and right microphones completely separated, or the stereo tracks rather, completely separated, just helps me when I'm editing later on.
Okay, that's good. What would you say that you've learned that you wish you knew when you started during your time in microphones and audio?
Well, I'd say always double check. The reason I'm doing this interview is because we've just had to go from a live recording session in Islington to a shop by Tottenham Court Road station to buy a cable which failed. And so I'm already in the middle of a job, and they're sort of back there. It's in someone's house, but it's a nice quiet location and it's comfortable for both participants. So there's no real benefit to recording in a studio over his sitting room. But yeah, I double, triple check and just try and work out all the ways in which something can go wrong, and have little test records yourself.
Do we know why the cable failed, and is it a common problem? Checking cables all the time?
It may be. This is the first cable failure I've had.
You've been doing it for 10 years.
Something close to that. Yeah, this is a unique thing. So I'm not experienced enough. Maybe something just got frayed. Maybe it's got a sort of windy coil in it as the whole design of the cable, and maybe part of it's just stretched a little or has snapped inside the rubber. I'd have to pull it all apart, and even then I'm not sure if I'd know what I was looking at. But luckily it hasn't broken the bank. I mean, just the Uber trip has been about 3 times as much as the actual cable cost. Okay. But that's how it goes.
Yeah. On the note of cables and wear and tear, how do you must have quite a bit of equipment. Is there any special casing or special ways you look after your equipment?
Well, I've put it in essentially a camera bag. They're sort of small.
The padded ones.
Yeah, the sort of small padded ones with sort of foam compartments in the middle. Not quite foam, but you can sort of Velcro different. Yeah.
Dividers. Yeah.
Foam exactly that. And just keeping it away from dust, really. Dust is the thing that I think will be the biggest degrader, possibly. And indeed moisture, if there's any moisture in the air, if it's a particularly humid day or something. So just keeping it a little bit shielded from the elements.
You keep one of those silicone bags. You know those silicone ball bags?
Oh, I've never heard of those.
Yeah, you must. When you buy any electrical equipment, it always comes with this little kind of sachet bag.
Oh, do you mean like the dehumidifier thing?
Yeah, so you keep those. Keep those in your.
Oh no,
That's what they're for. So if there's any moisture, that takes it up straight away.
Okay, see, I throw those out because
you don't throw them out.
Yeah, I just assumed that they were only good for a short time, and then they're no use. But maybe I'm I've totally misjudged it. Maybe I've thrown away. Maybe I wouldn't be going to get a cable right now if I hadn't thrown out that sachet.
Yeah, because if you think about it, they don't know how long that electrical item's going to be on the shelf or in storage or a warehouse. So they put that in there as a reassurance. I would have thought it's only not, because it's of what it's made of, it's going to be like a lifetime unless it gets damaged, as in wet, and then you just disregard it. But then it could probably dry out. I don't know. I'm speculating here.
No, these are all good points.
Yeah.
This has never occurred to me. I just assumed, and also because they come in those little paper sachets, I assumed if that it's possibly slightly toxic. So if it gets too worn out over time and it tears.
You just throw it away.
It might. Well, I don't know if it's got it all over if it gets it all over the equipment or something, or one of the little balls of silicon rolls into a socket or something. I don't know, man.
Put it in you've probably got those mesh little kind of mesh bags.
Again, I like a fool, I throw these out. I can't think of.
That come in a camera bag. There's usually like where you can put the old SD card.
Yes.
So you just put it in there, hold it in there.
Well,
so it doesn't get deteriorated, it doesn't get rubbing against things.
That's a really good point. These are all revelations to me that had never even crossed my mind. So thank you for these. As soon as I replace any of this equipment, I'll be going straight in.
You can actually order those on Amazon, you know.
Well, that's good news.
Like 100 bags, you know, small little things and all that.
Wow.
Yeah, so just something in mind. Keep in mind in the future. But I'm happy to be of assistance, surely, as you've been assistance with me.
Thank you.
And stuff. You talk about editing, audio editing software. What do you use? What do you find really good?
The audio editing software I use is called Isotope RX. It's quite expensive, but it's literally Photoshop for audio. It has a whole visualizing spectrum of the audio, so you can almost it's a huge sort of, it's more than a waveform, it's something far more detailed and intricate than that. So you can isolate specific sounds with insane accuracy and just remove those right out. It's got all kinds of cleanup tools for very different types of errors, everything from kind of, you know, mouth clicks. If you've got a slightly dry mouth and you have a kind of that kind of thing with lips smacking together, it'll just take that out but leave all the actual speech completely intact.
So it's a device that's designed to be able to distinguish different kind of sounds.
Exactly. It has all, it's software that has all, that is been programmed with amazing sophistication to distinguish between all different types of sounds and frequencies and isolate those very, very specifically, rather than, you know, a kind of slightly more broad brush, or rather like taking a sanding block to a whole, you know, swathe of audio.
For the listeners, can you spell the name of that software?
Yeah, it's Izotope and then RX, so Romeo Xavier.
Okay, you've been a great guest. Where can people find you if they want to use your services?
I've got almost no online presence at all. I've just realised I've always been getting jobs through work, through you know, people who've recommended me, basically. Okay. Because I started doing it on such a low-key basis and only went freelance relatively recently.
Now's your time, but if do you want to give out an email address, or you?
I've right now. It's you've made me think I really ought to start something.
10,000 people will be listening to this plus.
Wow.
So.
Well, I mean, I suppose I'm actually, no, I do have an Instagram account. It's John Robertson.
Do you want to spell that?
JONROBERTSON.
Okay, there you go, John Robertson. Okay, so John Robertson, what's the impact you want to have in the world?
I'm looking forward to making some films of my own. I've been doing all this stuff. I've been doing lots of camera and lighting as well as audio stuff. I've realised I've been doing it day in, day out, and so the technical stuff is now not a worry to me. I know enough people that I can get a very small crew together, but still get something together that looks and sounds, you know, no technical issues whatsoever for an audience to watch it with. I've been building my own lighting equipment. So I'm looking forward to making some films this summer.
Who's your idol as a director?
There's a comedy director called Ernst Lubitsch who was brought over into Hollywood right in the early... he was the first director ever brought over from Europe to start making movies in Hollywood in the silent era in the 20s. And he just started making these astonishing comedies. The best known one is probably because it was remade as You've Got Mail, and it's called The Shop Around the Corner, and that absolutely blew my mind when I was 16 and saw it for the first time. A comedy about two pen pals who are completely in love when they write to each other, work in the same shop, and can't stand each other all day.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that. You've been a great guest.
This has been a lovely journey.
And we wish you well.
Thank you.
And we look forward to your new films and, yeah. We hope you liked that Taxi Chronicles interview. Don't forget to share and subscribe to get the latest episode. Ever considered investing in the continent with the fastest growing economies and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources. Listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. British Standard Time.